Hello. Hey. Morning. Is everything okay? Okay. Yes, sir. Hold on, I'm putting my headset in. Okay. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Don, I'm not please. Yes, I understand. However, yes, 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 and that's why I still agree because that keeps the integrity because I don't want, because I don't know what they, actually the way I've seen it done in my other, community, it was like, the board does actually review it beforehand, like themselves individually, and they kind of bring the notes. And then, of course, when there's the situations like when we didn't even catch that it was a bungalow, like I don't even know how none of us caught it until Anna caught it at the end. But it's stuff like that, yeah, that we're gonna have a dialogue, but there's nothing wrong with that. However, it also proves my, oh, no, but I'm not, no, I want you to understand, this is not on you, it's not on anyone individually, it's just, and, hey, let's not, instead of pointing fingers, let's just get it back in the guidelines. Because I've done this type of stuff before. I don't want to do it, but it's kind of like, hey, I'll help where I can. And I do, genuinely. I really want to make things better. Oh, yes, please. No, it's nothing against you. That's why I please. No, that's why I even sent the last email where I think you've been doing a great job, so please do not think. That's why I was saying this is not directed at anyone. I just think our process could be a little more clarified for everybody because, no, sir, that's not what that was. And absolutely, but we should have, and that's why if we record it and we have the gray areas, when we have another gray area, we can say, hey, we can actually go back to the dialogue and, oh, look, here, oh, this is why, because they were an end lot. That's why they allowed it there, but they can't allow it here. That's why. No, sir. I still suggest that we record it because I have no problem. My word, I try to be as factual as I can with my words, so I have no problem with my words. Uh, oh, yes, sir. Yeah, and I can help you with, and I'll be honest, Don, if I can help create stuff like that, or where you can make suggestions to your company where you can say, hey, could we do something that where we upload the CCNRs and guidelines, and then we create a form that the community, like the owner, fills out, but that's automatically it bumps for keywords up against the guideline CCNR. it takes all of that and presents it to the board members or the committee board members, and then they can actually be able to make a more educated decision instead of winging it in the moment. And this is why I say this is what I did on a much higher level. So what I'm saying to do at this level is very simple, and it sounds like a lot, but once you implement it, it makes everything so much easier. Yeah, but what happens when they move? That's the problem. That's why documentation is so important. Like, my history is doctrine, yes. Yes, sir. And that's why I think it's very important. Like, I don't think people are going to go to the recordings, but they're there just in case. As far as the notes, yeah, you could, like, we should be annotating it directly to the owners anyways, but yeah, we should also be putting it in the file. I suggested this 4 years ago when I moved here. No, they're not. Not for what yes, sir. Yes, sir. But they're supposed to be clear and concise, but sometimes concise can mean it takes a little more length, because there is layers to different things, because now we're dealing with the guidelines, we're dealing with what city ordinances, well, we're not city, so maybe county ordinances, and then also state laws. So that's why there's the layers, because some, you know, for example, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, yes, sir. That's because I was the president of the largest military private org on the West Coast, on the West Side. And so, like, doing all of this, yes, that was my responsibility, to make sure there's documentation so that the decision, because each item that we did in the minutes, we would always follow up, especially if it was a denial or like why something was voted down. Like, no, they don't want to spend $1,000 for an ice sculpture, so, you know what I mean? Whatever it was, we would put it there so that there's an understanding in the future, because you can't guarantee there's somebody that's going to be there and remember exactly how it was. Yes. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, sir. And that's all I was trying to do. And then also it was like the board in the meeting, that's not where you bring up something that happened from last month. I would have been very open to having a sidebar conversation about that. Because if there, I don't even know if there were residents in there while we were doing that, but what does that look like? So what do you think, they're like, dang, the ARB can't even be on the same page. So do you think, now we wonder why not everyone puts in, maybe they know, they just don't care, because they're like, they're not even on the same page. I'm just being honest. But there also have to be policies and procedures that kind of set the guidelines. that's healthy, but at the end of the day, because I said so or because the guidelines isn't gonna hold up in court. I understand that, and that's why I can sleep at night with every decision I put forward, because if I approve, I can explain why, and my logic doesn't change, and if I deny, I can explain why, and unless the logic changes, you know what I mean, like, what, then, it's not, but that's where a healthy dialogue of understanding. It's not about digging in heels. For instance, yeah, but that's where it's necessary, because at the end of the day, my goal is to find a common ground where everybody wins, where like the HOA, the homeowner, everyone's good, everyone's protected. I really don't care about feelings. I care about the facts that are going to protect us in law. Exactly, and that I do hope they go to the, no, oh, please, let me clarify. Those feelings are valid because it feels unfair, because it's not clarified enough. Yes. Mm-hmm. But see, no, Don, you're talking about dealing with the homeowners. Absolutely, their feelings matter, but I'm talking about when we're dealing with making the decisions, I remove my feelings. I'm going off the logic. That's what I'm saying. Oh, but Don, that's not my focus. Exactly. But if we can clean it up on the back end, it makes your job easier because you can go back and explain why in writing and it's clarified. Or, hey, here's what it says now. However, if you'd like to propose a change, here's how you do it. And that's the best way we can do it. Because, yes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they have a valid question. How do we get that changed? But when the excuse is, we don't, we can't change it until we meet quorum to change the guidelines, then my question is, when's the last time we met quorum, and when's the last time the guidelines have been changed? Okay. Yeah, but I will be honest with you. Yes, and that's how I understood it. So that's what, but see, there are members that don't, if they've gone to the board to suggest changes, and the board has shot them down saying, we don't have quorum to make those changes. Yet the board has made changes on their own. Yeah, but no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, there have been times that people have come to the board looking to make changes to the guidelines, and the board said they couldn't do it because they didn't reach quorum. What? Mm-hmm. But wait a minute. No, no, Don, I'm confused. I'm asking for clarification. So they sent that out to make changes to the guidelines or, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, but if you look at the percentage of them, yeah, but there's a, what? What? I'm processing. Please bear with me, because that's, d- does anyone does anyone understand the logic behind that? Like, what was the intent? My stomach kind of got not in a knot, trying to process how people thought withholding a vote would be productive. I'm not under. Oh. Oh. Mm. I'm. My head hurts trying to understand that. Like, how is voting sinister? No. No, Don, you don't understand. That's how my brain works. Like, if something does not make sense and I'm struggling with it, it starts to give me a headache. And this is one of those. Like, how? How do you get to that conclusion that voting for an HOA, it doesn't even matter if it was for or against votes, you know what I mean? Just how is voting for something within your HOA? Are you, no, because you give me anxiety. Because I like sense. You see why I was a programmer. I don't deal with people. A computer. Like, it knows exactly, it's logical, that's what I do. So, yeah, mm-hmm. Oh, yes. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, have a good day. Bye.